All right, and the last responsibility that we're going to talk about, and this is by far the most important responsibility that we have as US citizens, and it's voting. We have a duty to go out and vote. We have the power. We get to decide who is in charge of our country. We get to decide what direction our country goes. Every 2 years, and even more often than that for local elections, you have the ability to make an actual impact and change on things you don't like going on in the country. You don't like your taxes, you think they're too high, vote for someone who says they're going to lower them. You think tax money should be spent more on education and less on other things, vote for someone who supports that. You don't like the current candidates you have in charge, you don't like the people you have in charge, vote them out of office. You have every duty and every right and responsibility to make sure that the people who are representing you represent your views. You don't have to settle for what you have for candidates. You can demand that you get good candidates. And if you don't like what the candidates are doing, you don't like what they're saying, and you think you can do a better job, you can run for office, and you should run for office. If you have an interest in something and you think something needs to be done, you either need to find a candidate who's going to support that, or you need to find people to support you and run for office yourself. That civic responsibility, that duty to go vote, is the thing that separates our country from everyone else. The fact that we have the final say in our election. No matter what any politician says, no matter who they say, it doesn't matter who votes, it matters who counts the votes. That's false. You go out and vote, you matter. I promise you that. And if you don't like the job your elected officials are doing and there's not an election coming up, contact them, email them, call them, go to places where they're going to have meetings, but be respectful. Don't be one of those people who goes up and says all politicians are dumb or all politicians are stupid, all politicians are corrupt. No, that's not true. Are there politicians who don't do a good job? Yes. Are there politicians who should focus more on doing their jobs and doing their jobs better? Absolutely. And you can tell them that. But always be respectful. They're humans. They're not perfect. Just because they make decisions you don't disagree with doesn't mean you can disrespect them or hurl words at them or insult them or call for them to be tried for treason because you don't like what they said or you don't like that they're against something that you are. We have to do better in this country at raising the level of debate to where we're not just hurling schoolyard insults at people. And that goes for both sides. You can argue that one side's worse than the other. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the way that we as citizens interact with our elected officials. We have a right and a duty to vote, to contact them, and to make sure that our views are being represented and to make sure that we're advocating for everyone in our country to make this country as great as it can be. Not as great as it was, not as great as it's going to be, as great as it can be. That's our job, and that's our most important duty. That's going to be it for this. I'm going to go through comments, and then we're